Now, I'm going to share with you my top trading strategies. Well, the first one is much more beginner because this is what I used to use back in the day when I was starting, and it's too easy that any beginner trader could actually learn it. Then the second one is just a bit advanced, but again easier to learn. And by the way, these are the same trading strategies that I've been using for the past 4 years and helping me get the $250 account to about 60,000. And the most interesting part is I have seen people use them and they're working. And without any further ado, let's dive straight into it. Now, for the first one, we are basically using support and resistance. Now, I know this might sound, I think everyone actually trades support and resistance, but listen, in here you are looking at what the price is doing, basically looking at the price action, and most importantly, a bit of the price structure. You're having your levels drawn out and then you're able to get trades. But more to that, we shall use a bit of indicators to just get the entries. So with that, let's just dive into the charts and see how it actually works. Firstly, as I mentioned, basically support and resistance is so easy. You're going to say have two levels. You have your first level down here and you also have your second level, say here. Now you're just going to look at what the price is doing. Obviously, in some way the price is going to be reacting off these two zones or areas, which is so easy. Now the most interesting part with trading is the price is basically doing the same things over and over. What happened yesterday could actually help you find what's going to happen today, and that's where price action comes in. It's much more of you studying the historical data for you to actually find what's happening in today. Now in such a scenario, if say the price reacted off this area initially, well, in some way I'm going to understand that, well, if the price comes back to this zone or this area, then more often enough it could react off. Now the most interesting part is you might need to start off with bigger time frames. Now just in this example, this being gold, we are on the H4 and we could just quickly see how it looks. Okay, so let me just quickly show you, and this is how the price is looking. Now in such a scenario, we could have, say, our level off here. Now it doesn't matter, you could use lines or say rectangles to mark out your zones. Most importantly, you must have a level that has been respected sometimes back. It can be 2 times or 3 times. Now in such an example, obviously you guys can see we have some reaction off here. Now you can see once the price got here, it returned back down, and one more time again, once the price got here, it returned back down. Now what does this mean? Well, in some way we could say, oh, perhaps if the price came back to this area one more time, okay, now if you just stretch to this area, then in some way the price could later push back down. Okay, now you guys can actually see how easy this is. Now let me just quickly go ahead and stretch through and see. So we could come down to the daily time frame and then try out some examples. All right, so in such an example, we could actually try off, say, off with this area. Now let's just mark out this area and we could just come back to H4 and see. Alright, so in such an example, I think we have just a bit of a good example. And by the way, most importantly, it's not a must that these levels must be, say, straight lines or horizontal lines. No, in some way you could actually use trend lines because perhaps your levels could actually be in a slanting position. Now in such an example, look at this. So if, say, I drew off a level off here, well, it's the same idea. Now look, again, the price hit this area and then reacted off, hit this area and reacted off, hit this area and reacted off. It's the same thing. Now in such a scenario, it means once the price comes here, it finds a bit of resistance. So you could just call this your resistance, this your resistance, this your resistance, and it's coming back down. Then on the other side down, we could say, well, you have this area, and in such an instance we can see that, well, the price came over here, reacted off, came back off here, reacted off, came back off here, reacted off. Now we could just look at the practical side of it and how you can actually use it to get trades. So I do see a level that has actually been respected multiple times, and we have this area. So I've marked out this. So obviously here we have 1 touch, then we have 2 touches, and now let's see what the price did. Now most enough, these levels could actually be broken or respected, but let's now just quickly stretch through, meaning in such a scenario we expected for the price to come back to this area and react off, and let's see what happened off here. So we can see that in some way the price came off here, and this time around the price actually broke through and continuously push to the upside. If we can just actually look at this. All right. Okay, cool. So in such a scenario, rather what happened was, well, the price came off and then reacted off. Now, on getting entries, because now we do have a scenario ready, does it mean that we must get this trade as soon as the price comes back, say, to your support or resistance? Listen, no. Again, you must wait for a bit of confirmation to see the price, say, changing direction, and then you're able to take your trades, okay? So on identifying your levels, obviously, just as I showed you with two areas, you could also have, say, a trending market. So say the price is in an obvious uptrend, same thing really. So you could have, say, an area off here, then you could also have an area off here, and it's pretty easy. So we say your support becomes your resistance. I mean, that's so easy. So in such a scenario, obviously you guys can see the price got here, found a bit of support and then pushed up, came back to this area, found a bit of support and pushed up. Now the most interesting part is if you stretch to this zone, more than enough, you're going to see, now let me just quickly show you. So in such a scenario, we have our next area being this. So in some way you could find the price coming back down here and then now pushing up, okay? Meaning once you have all your areas marked out, then more often enough you're going to find better trades. So it doesn't matter if, say, it's a trending market or a ranging market, either you are getting trades. Now you should be wondering, so how must I find trades? Now listen, as I mentioned, once you have your levels marked out, it's not a must that these levels are going to be respected, and it doesn't mean that take a trade immediately. All you must do is have your levels marked out and let's wait for the price reaction of that zone. So in such an example, we have, obviously, we could just actually mark out an area here. Now, I think this is much better if we stretch this here. So we have a level here and we can just stretch this guy up to here. And right now, what you guys can see is, obviously, the price came left a wick. And by the way, when you're drawing all your levels, well, sometimes you need to consider the wick. Well, it means the price reached that point at some point and then later reversed, meaning in any way the price got to that area. And you must observe all that. So in such a scenario, we have this wick rejection of here. And now look at what happened. So the price came back to this area and obviously guess what? Well, we saw a bit of a good push down. Again, as I said, we wouldn't take sales immediately. No, more often enough, again, we had much more of a confirmation really. And okay, so we just had a bit of this push. You guys can see we had a bit of an engulfing candlestick. Engulfing candlestick should engulf the previous, because here we had a bit of bullish candlesticks and now we had sellers coming in. So just a quick recap of this, you're going to have your levels drawn out. As I mentioned, well, it's even better if you have, say, 2 areas or even 3 areas. A place where the price is going to reach and then react off. And then once you have your levels drawn out, you're going to wait and see how the price reacts off to those areas. Then more to that, you could actually continuously go, say, to the smallest time frames for entries. And you are better off, and that's how easy it is. Now, if you want to learn more about trading and making money online, be sure you subscribe, and if you are enjoying this video, you can also smash the like button. And let's get back straight into the video. Now the second one is just a bit advanced and it does have a bit of waiting. Now waiting or patience is actually a key thing in trading. I actually learned this in my second year of trading. Well, I knew, okay, you could actually have better setups if, say, you waited patiently, and that's the thing that I want to show you. Now in here, again, it's the same thing in some way. You're going to have the price structure or the market structure. Is it in an uptrend or is it in a downtrend, or say in a ranging market, okay? And then after you have that, you are going to draw out your higher highs and then your higher lows. Now basically in here, what we are trying to look out for is, say the price was initially in an uptrend, we expect it to continuously break all the highs, okay? And that's how important it is. Now say you have your most recent high drawn out, what we are going to wait for is the price going to break this? And if not, perhaps it's going to react off. And let me just quickly show you how it does look like. So say we have just a very basic structure here. Now, funny fact, well, the price won't move just like this. This is for explanations of here. So if, say, we had a very clear trend as that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a level at my highest point as yet, and this being the point. Why? Because the price is in an uptrend and it's breaking all the highs. You guys can see that. So all these highs, and now the most recent one now is this of here. Then the next thing is I'm also going to go ahead and draw out my low, this being my area. Now, as I mentioned, we should expect the price to say come back for a retracement and then break above. Okay, now these are many scenarios, just like how we are going to see. Sometimes the price could actually reverse, because it could come back to this area, form something as that, and then later all of a sudden reverse. But mostly enough, it's much more of, if say you're trading off with a trend, and what I would expect in here is, say the price coming back now to this area, okay, because now we have this area off here, actually combining the ideas that we just got in the first strategy. We'd expect the price to come back off here and then take our trades. Now that's why I said it requires a lot of waiting. Okay, now let's just go to a charts and see how it actually looks. We could actually try off with some other pairs, say GBPUSD and see. And by the way, for the fact that you are watching up to this point, well, listen, I truly understand how badly you want to become good at trading, and it all starts now. And the most amazing thing is that you are actually putting in the work and you are learning. But listen, if you'd love to fasten up your trading track, learn as soon as possible, and that means start making as soon as possible or as quick as possible, well, you could need mentorship. So I do have a mentorship program where I get you from the start up to the end. Now listen, you can obviously learn from YouTube, but there's a lot of content and I wouldn't want you to go through all that fluff. So it's actually pretty easy, and we do have a 2-month money guarantee, meaning if I teach you for 2 months and you are making money, then we are doing a money back guarantee. So you notice there is literally nothing to lose but much more to gain. So I'll just go ahead, put the link just down. It's going to be the first link in the description. Sign up and I'll see you inside. Now let's just go back off here. So we could actually try off with GBPJPY and see how this trading strategy actually works. So if we can see this, now as I mentioned, we need to first identify what the structure is, and in such a scenario we see, well, the price was continuously pushing to the upside, not so, because we can see it's been breaking all the highs. Now we could just go ahead and draw one of our levels. Now we could have, say, one of here, because we actually had a weak rejection. In any way the price hit here and then came back down, then we can also have our lows, and we have this off here. Now the most interesting part is now we do have 2 areas. Okay, I could also just draw one here, because in some way, well, the price got here, we expected it to push up, but that didn't happen. Now we do have 2 areas, right? So in some way we should expect the price to come back down here, because it's been a level already, we can see that has been respected. Now once it comes back here, well, look what happened previously. Again, as we mentioned, you're looking at what happened. Well, mostly enough, we could look out for buys. Either on the other side, for the fact that it's been an uptrend, we expect the price to at least push back up. And once it comes back to this area, we could actually watch out for it breaking above, coming back for a retest, and then again continuously pushing to the upside. But you can't easily confirm, not until it has happened. So it doesn't help we coming in, or I think since Daniel said if the price is doing this, then you must do this. No, we're going to wait patiently and then see. So in such a scenario up at this point currently, okay, we are still on the H4. Again, all this is easily done on the bigger time frames. So at least here we could expect the price to push down, and and if I could just scale down to the H1 rather, this is how it's looking. Now I think you guys at this point should understand that the size of the candlesticks is going to tell you how much of the volume is in the market. Now in such a scenario, we have this big red candlestick. Well, it means sellers were in total control and there was a lot of selling pressure. And most enough, when there is a lot of selling pressure, then it means even bigger traders are in, institutions, all that. So there is a lot of selling orders. And it's better that we follow the overall price direction, or the order flow rather. So in here, we could just expect the price obviously to push down. So in here, since we do have a level and already we have a lot of selling pressure happening, so at least we could expect the price to push down up to here. So here, well, you could decide to take short-term sales. I think that could be about just a couple of pips, 10 or something. Let me just quickly check that out. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is you could actually take sales up to this area and then wait now for the price reacting off this area and now ride the bigger move. Well, generally, again, as I mentioned, you're going to have your highs, your lows marked out, because that's what is going to determine the overall price direction, and then closely watch out for those levels. They could actually either be broken or respected. Some of the traders actually also call it much more like break and retest. But in here, we're actually combining in a bit of the order flow on, well, who is in control. If it's sellers, then we need to also flow out with sellers. Then if it's buyers, then we need to go with the buyers. And just as easy as that. Now, listen, the more the practice, the better you are going to become good at this. I could actually do a whole hour or 2 hours of breaking down all this. But listen, the more practice you do, then the better you are going to become at it. And that's why sometimes, well, I would say find a community of traders doing trading. It's a community of traders for trading, and literally just as that. So, well, in here you could actually practice as much as possible, or watch a bunch of YouTube videos and do as much practice as possible. Well, the more the practice, then the better. And last thing is, the moment you're in, then there is never looking back. It's either winning or winning. And I'll see you in the next one. So I'm also going to put a video just on the side here. Watch it and see you in the next one. Let's go. I'm out.